All right, so today we're talking about how to start a conversation with your ex. Now, there are a lot of videos out there on this topic, obviously, but we're going to be talking about how to do this from a place where the two of you can actually connect in a meaningful, authentic, and genuine way that brings the two of you closer. But first, before we go ahead and get into all of this, my name is Clay with ModernLove.life, where we help you get the great, loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not, because you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, do me a favor by hitting that thumbs up button for this video and, subscribe to the channel while you're around here. Okay, it's right down there next to that thumbs up button. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. All right, so also wanted to let you know that we are, as of like right now, the time that we are recording this video, we are enrolling people into our effortless connection group coaching program. Okay. I don't know if you guys are on our email newsletter or if you've been following some of the things that we've been doing in our Facebook group, but we are now currently, in the first week of July 2020. I have to say all this stuff because you never know when people are going to watch this video on YouTube, but we're now enrolling people into that effortless connection group coaching program. If you would be interested in joining that program, there is some information in a link down in the description box below. Basically, it's not going to be dirt cheap, but I think it's actually pretty good value. It's probably about the cost of maybe two or three coaching sessions, depending on which coach you've used in the past. But it's about that much, and it would give me the opportunity to work with you for about a 2-ish month period while we go ahead and put together this communication course. Okay, and I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions. Me or someone on our team will ask you a couple questions just to make sure that this is a good fit for you and what you're looking for. But again, if you're interested, it's down in the description box. We're only going to be enrolling people in it for the next week and a half or so, and then we're going to get started with whoever is on board. So if you're interested, don't dilly-dally. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. How do you start a conversation with your ex? Now, in the past, we have talked about the triangle of commitment. We've talked about getting on the same team. That is absolutely very important. Oftentimes, when people are talking to their ex, I've noticed that many times they're actually kind of putting their ex up on a pedestal. And I guess that kind of makes sense. Your ex seemingly has something that you want. They have the power to say, yes, let's get back together, or no, let's not get back together. And so people sort of look at their ex as someone that is, let's just say not their equal, but someone who is above them. And that is not a good footing for having a conversation with your ex in probably any circumstance that I can imagine. The ideal circumstance is as the two of you being equals, obviously, because, outside of certain fetish, kink sort of things, most people want to be in a relationship with people that they see as equals. There isn't a whole lot of enjoyment when there's some massive power shift one way or the other. So you want to have this mindset of this is a person that's an equal to me. Okay, this isn't someone that I need to look up to. This isn't someone who has power over me or anything like that, but this is someone who is an equal, and we're just going to co-create something in this dialogue, in this conversation. Now, yeah, you may want to get back together with them, but you want to see them as an equal first and foremost. And then in addition to that, you want to see them as being on the same team as you. Oftentimes, like we talked about in that triangle of commitment video, people have this tendency to see their ex as someone who's not on the same team as them. And of course, this takes really obvious examples such as, seeing your ex as someone that you totally hate, that you need to keep a voodoo doll of them under your bed or something like that. I don't think you're probably one of those people if you are here watching this video and wanting to get back together with your ex, but hey, you never know. But it can also take on a more subtle form than that as well too, where maybe you think that you need to manage your ex's emotions for them. You start wondering am I contacting them too much? Should I contact them less? How often should I contact them? And instead, if you were on the same team, if you were equals, you could just say, hey, am I contacting you too much? Do you want a little bit more space? That's an example of being on the same team. And it's as simple as that, right? But oftentimes it's these little simple things that can derail us because we get sort of caught up in this sort of underlying dynamic that's driving the whole direction of the relationship. And that is that, hey, we're fundamentally not on the same team, or like, you are an avoidant attachment style person. Therefore, I need to learn the secret tricks and hacks to get through to an avoidant attachment style person. That's like how that's not an example of being on the same team. That's trying to bridge the gap between two people that fundamentally aren't on the same team. And it's so much easier if you can get on the same team and then just turn to your teammate and just ask them, right? So that's the first key when it comes to starting a conversation with your ex. The second key is that you want to make sure that there is a good amount of clear communication between the two of you. So there's a lot of room for miscommunication, and oftentimes the miscommunication comes from people, let's just say, not talking about dynamics that are actually unfolding. So as you go through the process of interacting with your ex, there are going to be things that you maybe can't necessarily explain or come up with a good reason for why it's happening or why they're doing what they're doing and all of that. Why did it take them 6 hours to text me back? Why are they suddenly not responding, or why are they suddenly responding with only short answers? Is it because they're losing interest? Sure, that is one possible explanation. But what could be another possible explanation? Maybe they're caught up doing something else right now too. Maybe they're texting someone else right now about some important thing that's happening. Maybe they are busy or preoccupied with things. I mean, like right now, it's the beginning of July, and I have some tax stuff due shortly, so I'm trying to take care of that in my copious spare time. I really should have probably thought about that before I decide to enroll people into a group coaching program this time of year. But hey, lesson learned. If I'm ever going to do this again, I might want to think about that. But yeah, what you want to do is you want to notice these things where we start to fill in and make meaning out of things that we don't fully understand. Why are they taking longer to respond? I don't know. Maybe they're losing interest. Maybe something else came up. Maybe they're concerned about giving us false hope or leading us on. Maybe they're concerned that this is moving too fast for them. Maybe they don't feel like they're in control. Maybe they feel like they're not being heard in some way. And so what you want to do is you want to call out that dynamic so that you can actually have a conversation about it and allow them to be heard and understood by you. Because the more they're heard and understood by you, obviously that's going to reinforce the same teamness, if that's even a word, that we just talked about. But it's also going to allow the two of you to actually talk about what's going on. And it's going to allow the two of you to actually adjust course and to kind of make something that works for you. Because again, we're on the same team, we're working together as a partnership with equals, okay? So that's like the foundational thing. On top of that, we want to have clear communication that is allowing us to actually talk about what's legitimately happening so that we can address it, so that we can correct course as need be, and so that we can create a dynamic and an interaction that is mutually enjoyable for both parties involved. And then, of course, the third aspect of that triangle of communication is consistency. It's trust. It's basically, can they trust that the person that they're talking to today is going to be the same person that they talk to tomorrow, and that's going to be the same person that they talk to the day after that? Basically, are we going to be on the same team today? Are we going to be on the same team tomorrow? Are we going to be on the same team the day after that? Or are we going to get honest and talk about what's happening today? Are we going to get honest and talk about what's actually happening tomorrow? Are we going to get honest and actually talk about what's happening the day after that? If you can do this consistently over time, that's when the trust kicks in, and that's when things just get like really, really, really super easy. Oftentimes the trust can like kind of disintegrate when people start to use tips, tricks, tactics, mind games, things like that, because you might be able to get them to talk to you or respond to you or something like that by playing hard to get, by using reverse psychology, by making them jealous or something like that. But then once the two of you are actually talking, if you aren't fundamentally on the same team, if you don't have that mindset, you might start to overinvest. You might start to put them on a pedestal. You might start to beg, plead, look for approval, seek validation and stuff like that. And that's just going to not reinforce that consistency, and that's going to cause them to say, okay, the person I saw the other day is not the person I'm seeing now. I can't trust it. I can't trust what you're doing. And that's going to erode away the trust, and it's going to make things much harder. So these are kind of the three things that you want to have in place when it comes to having a conversation with your ex and making sure that it is setting the two of you up for a positive experience. Now, obviously, there's a whole lot of nuance in terms of like how to talk to them, and that's maybe a conversation for another time because, sometimes your ex won't talk to you and they're like really kind of upset with you about stuff. Sometimes they're really open and willing to talk to you. Sometimes the two of you are just kind of like dancing around something that should be addressed but is not being addressed. Sometimes it's something else in between. But you have to be able to adapt course and put these three components into place so that you can have the best quality conversation. If you do want to learn more about our Effortless Connection Communication group coaching course, and it is, before, let's just say July 17th, go ahead and click the link down below. Watch that video. It gives you all the information that you need to know about this course. And if it sounds like it's a good thing for you, just click the button below that video and get in contact with us, and we'll write back to you and see if you might be a good fit for the course or not. We're just going to ask you a couple quick questions to make sure that this actually would be a good fit for you. Then, of course, if it looks like you're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you, then we'll invite you to join us inside. But anyway, do that before July, let's just say 16th or so, and 17th or so. I think that's what I said earlier. We'll just stick with that 17th. And we'll go ahead and get the conversation started. If you do want to learn more about how to actually text with your ex so that you can actually get the communication and all that stuff moving, you might want to check out this video series over here, or you might want to check out this auto-generated algorithmic pick for something that you might like. Thank you, YouTube. Anyway, my name is Clay with modernlove.life. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.